this blue's kind of slimming.
See what you look like.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Just wear black.
Monday, 10 a.m. We did a meeting on a Monday instead of a Tuesday because Big O Cam decided to come in from Chilliwack to talk about how to never lose a listing presentation, which I think is huge because we need more listings. There's lots out there, but I don't want you guys going into a listing presentation and losing one. So he's offered to give us a great presentation. Write your notes. We've got it recorded. We're going to boot this back out to you guys today. Sorry, we don't have a projector behind us. It died last week and I forgot that it died, and Cam reminded me on the weekend for a projector and I didn't have one. So we'll and his is built into his wall. So without any further delay, Cameron, the floor is yours. Welcome to the big city again, my friend.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
Doesn't light bulb circle?
What's that?
Wouldn't it if you're on light bulb?
Here?
Oh.
You need a projector for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I get to see my PowerPoint, but you don't get to see my PowerPoint. So
But
I'll
if you
just talk
go
right
on
through
to
it.
the Zoom and mute yourself,
You'll be able to see it.
you'll see it on your phones.
Okay, so thanks for showing up, guys. Listings are one of my favorite things. I should say one of my favorite things, but they're such an important part of our business. And we know that we need to have listings. And whenever we do these things, everyone's like, what's your listing presentation? And I want to back us up a little bit on this because you can have like the nicest listing presentation. It can be like purple and pink and all the right colors and all the whatever. But at the end of the day, it's a human interaction business is what we do. And so I actually want to like back up and go through the psychology of it and then go through what we do through the process of it. I also don't like when people come and they talk about real estate and they've never done real estate themselves. So just so you guys know, my biggest year, I did 117 listings in 1 year. I average about 75 transactions a year personally. The last couple of years, I'm really trying to scale it back. So we're trying to grow our brokerage and do other things. The most listings I've held at one time has been about 50. And even right now, I think I hold 12 or 13 listings. And I try so hard not to. Yeah. Anyways, so listings are kind of my jam. They have the old thing like you list to last. And so listings are power. They say every listing you have equals about 1.7 transactions because that's going to generate a buyer or a referral or whatever. And so we actually really do want listings. And I know in this market, it doesn't seem like it because they don't sell, but listings are really important. So, how do I go next, Angel? On my thing, I'll let you do it. Angelique, sorry.
Yes.
Okay, and I just keep it inside button.
Yes.
Oh, there. Okay.
Cameron, before I forget,
Yes.
what were your listings you had? This is all kind of in the valley.
All in the Fraser Valley.
Did you have a lot of residential or agriculture, or was it a combination?
So typically residential,
Right.
which is even more work because now you have emotional, moms and dads or whatever that own these houses. So there's also lots of new construction built into there as well, especially the biggest year I ever had. I would have subdivisions listed at the same time. So I have my residential subdivisions and the residential clients. That's what I would.
And this was pre-built or after they're built?
Both.
Both.
A bit of both. Yeah, a bit of both. Okay. So why is the listing presentation so powerful? Our competition in real estate actually sucks. So there's thousands of realtors, but when they show up to a listing, most of them don't actually have a listing presentation. Statistically, 60% of realtors don't have a listing presentation. 30% of realtors use it sometimes, and 10% of realtors use it all the time. Who in the room has a listing presentation that they use all of the time? Okay, well, let's change that for someone about 10. Great job, Rhiannon.
Hey, thanks.
Way to go, way to go.
I just take hers.
You just take it.
Yeah.
And the thing that we don't know is we're actually competing with realtors 34% of the time. So I had this French guy, I shouldn't say French, it's mean, but he worked for me a couple of years ago and he came into the office and he was so angry. And I'm like, what are you angry about? He's like, well, I did this listing presentation and I didn't get the listing. And the last minute they told me that I was in competition with another realtor. If they would have told me, my listing presentation would have been completely different. I was like, can you please just do like the same thing every time, no matter what happens? And so that's what we want to do. Whether it's your mom or your uncle or a friend, it is the exact same listing presentation every single time, no matter what. Oh my gosh, why does this thing never want to go forward on me? Okay, so first skill though, before we even do listing presentation, is the ability to book the appointment. How many times do we get someone who calls us and says, I think I want to sell my house. What's it worth?
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone got trapped into that question before?
Yeah.
What is the last thing you should ever do?
Give him a price.
Never, ever, ever give them a price. Ever. First, you're going to hurt their feelings, and then you're never going to get into the house. So you have to say, I never give a price over the phone, and every house is so different. Whether it be a condo, a house, a townhouse, whatever it is, I need to go in and see fit and finish. When works best for you is where we give them the to close option. If you say Monday at 4 p.m., I promise you Monday at 4 p.m. is never going to work. So you say, does Monday at 4 p.m. work or Tuesday at 3? You give them two choices, they'll make a decision. It's weird human dynamics, I can't even explain it to you. Don't give them one choice, give them two, and then they'll pick one of them. And then when they pick it, you have an appointment booked and you haven't given away anything. So never give price away over the phone. Oh, wow. Come on.
Do you want to?
I'm so sorry, Zoomers. It doesn't move on me. Oh, it works there. Do I have to just keep hitting this button? Okay. So do you want to review the closing process? You guys can't see, but there's a beautiful mountain behind me. This is on my PowerPoint right now. And so the closing process, it starts with building trust, demonstrating value, demonstrating the product, and then the close. And so in real estate, so often realtors start by trying to close. And what we're really doing is my company's called Elevate, so I love hiking mountains. The base of the mountain actually takes the longest, and that's your building trust phase. So when someone comes into an open house, am I trying to sell them the house or I'm trying to build trust with them? Always build trust. Hey, who are you? Where are you from? What are you looking for? Do you have kids? Do school districts matter? I'm asking a whole bunch of questions about them. The last thing they want to hear from me is like, wow, look at this wonderful kitchen. And I think you're going to love this neighborhood. You should look at it right now. Like, they don't care. I'm there to build rapport. And it's the exact same thing with the listing presentation. We're going to back up and we're going to start with building rapport when we get into it. So that's always the closing analogy I need because we forget about it. So here's a summary today. We're going to go through introduction and how to do it properly, the home tour, your actual marketing presentation. We're going to go through stats, home evaluation, net sheets and projections. I don't know if you guys are doing these things, but I'll talk through them for the first time. Mutual decisions, forms, details, and then say goodbye. A listing presentation should take you 45 minutes. So my mentor years ago, he's an old Remax guy. I'd go for lunch with him once a quarter. He'd sell 100 houses a year. I'm like, how do you do it? He's like, 45 minutes, Cam, in and out. And I was like, oof. At the time, it would take me 2 hours, at least 2 hours. And then I'd probably have a glass of wine with my clients in the process. And it's the last thing you should ever do. So let's go into this properly. So introduction. If it's a single family house or a place where they can see you coming into their house, you need to not park on their driveway ever. That's for friends and family. And we also don't want to play musical cars. Because I guarantee the second you pull in their driveway, there's going to be a sleeping teenager in the bedroom at some point. You'll be in the middle of your presentation, and then teenager comes out of the room. He's like, Mom, I need you to move whatever vehicle's in the driveway. Please move it. It's an awkward moment. So we park on the sidewalk. And when we walk to the house, especially me being a bigger guy, you always knock on the door, step back, turn sideways. And I know these are weird, like seriously, I know these are weird things, but they're selling their house. This is stressful. This is a big deal. And if you come and knock on the door and you come in 2 shoulders at them, it's intimidating and instantly they're going to be turned off. Girls have a better time at this than guys, but you literally need to be soft. Now, the other thing I do is the color that you wear matters. And I know this is weird. Always wear blue. It's very slimming.
Yeah.
Blue is the color of trust. So if I've never met someone before, I'm wearing a blue dress shirt every single time, which is so funny. So I wear what you want to wear. Don't go suit and tie. Don't go sweatpants, for example, but just wear something casual and usually blue if you're man. It's kind of a funny little thing, but it makes a difference. So we also want to compliment something in their house as soon as possible. So you come into the house and you say, hey, I'm Cameron. Nice to meet you. I love. Oh, I can hear you now. But thanks, Mike. Be like, I love the way the shrubs look, or I like your driveway, or you have a great park. Just something just to like put them at ease because they're really nervous. Okay, then we need to control the atmosphere. Where is the worst place to go when you do a listing presentation? Does anybody know? So you never want to go to the living room. It's the kiss of death. Kiss of death. If you go in there and you sit on a couch and you're leaned back and they're in a couch, you might as well walk out of the house. You're not getting the listing. You need to get to the kitchen. So I always show up with my briefcase for the sole purpose of, I'm like, hey guys, I need to sit at the kitchen table because I have a lot of stuff to spread out and show you where's your kitchen table. We're going to walk over there. And my story with this is years ago, I was listening to some presenter and he's like, put every single one of your teachers in a database because at some point they know who you are, they'll probably use you. So I took all my teachers from kindergarten to grade 12, put in my database, mailed them every month, and my kindergarten teacher called me within 6 months. I didn't know she remembered me. Mrs. Gale was her name, actually. Maybe she'll listen to this one day. And so she called me into her house, and I was newer in real estate, and she goes, just so you know, if you tell me my house is worth $700,000, I'm gonna kick you out of my house. And I was like, oh, she's like, the realtor before you sat on my couch and told me he was worth $700,000, and we never want to talk to him ever again. Our house is worth so much more than that. So I brought my briefcase in, we went to the kitchen table, I went through this entire listing presentation that I'm gonna show you guys and how we do it. Guess what I told her house is worth?
Still another.
$650,000. And she said, okay, sounds good. And then I said, do you want to list with me? Paused and smiled, and she said yes, and I sold her house and she was happy. 50 grand less than the realtor before, but I started at the kitchen table and built rapport, built what I was doing, showed my value. And the other guy sat on the couch, drank a coffee, he's like, 700 grand.
Yeah.
So we have to be very careful with how we kind of enter these scenarios sometimes. Did I ever, I mean, it's a small group. Did I ever tell you guys about the time I got turned upside down and left in a basement?
No.
Okay, we just got a couple seconds. This is kind of funny. So I had these clients. She was an ex-dancer of the dancing type. He was a kickboxer. We get in there and they're like, beer in my hand immediately. Didn't have time to say no, just like tall beer. Here you go, Cam. And they're like, come to the living room. I'm like, no, guys, like the couch is okay. And they're like, no, we just got this new chair. You have to sit on it. So I sit on this chair and it's a massage chair, like those like super expensive ones that like vibrate and shake or whatever. So I sit on this couch and I'm holding the beer and they're like, Cam, does anything on your body hurt? And you know how we're supposed to say yes all the time in real estate? I'm like, yeah, like my back hurts. They're like, no way. So they locked my arms into this chair
That's nice.
and my legs, and I'm holding this beer and they hit the button. So it's like, I'm like shaking with this beer. And they're like, what's the market doing? How's our health? And you're like, how do you have a conversation like that? And then they're like, actually, Cam, I think we can really help you. So they unbuckled me from this chair, put the beer down. They're like, come to our basement. So I walk to their basement,
Getting free.
down the hallway. We go into this room with no windows, and there's like this contraption in the middle of the room.
Yep.
And they're like, hey, Cam, just come into this thing, strap yourself into it, and we'll flip you upside down. It's one of those inverter tables. So what do? I say yes.
Yeah.
So I go into there, strap myself into the stupid inverter thing, and they flip me upside down, and immediately I'm like really, really uncomfortable. Like so, like, have you guys been flipped upside down recently? Anyone?
No.
No, it's like actually the worst feeling in the entire world. So they flip me upside down, lock me in place, and he's like, just deep breathe, Cam. And I'm like shallow breathing, trying to go with it. And then the doorbell rings. So him and his wife run upstairs and leave me upside down on this inverted thing locked in. Long story short, it's like 2 minutes in, I'm breathing through this, I'm like, I can do it. At about 5 minutes, I'm starting to panic. I can feel my eyes going all wonky. And I'm like, can I swear in your Zoom? Probably. Okay, so I'm like, fuck it, I'm getting out of this thing. And so I'm trying to like get myself out and trying to flip around, can't really flip around. And then now my vision starts going blurry. They left me down there for 15 minutes. And at one point I heard, oh shit, Cam's still downstairs. So they ran downstairs, unlocked me. I literally couldn't see properly. They signed the listing immediately with me because they were so embarrassed and so scared. I got back to the office and the secretaries were like, you okay, Cam? And I'm like, yeah, like, were you smoking pot all afternoon? Like, what happened to you? Like, I broke all the blood vessels under my eyes. Anyways, go to the kitchen, never get stuck in the living room because it's actually a bad place to be. So,
Or the massage chair.
or the massage chair,
Or get harnessed.
or get harnessed. Oh my gosh. Okay,
Start of a Netflix series.
it's so bad.
You should start with that. Don't get harnessed in a listing.
Don't get harnessed in a list of bad news bears. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our stuff on the kitchen table and then we really wanna do a home tour. So you should have a book ready to go to take notes. And I wish people would have taught me this when I started real estate because these things actually really matter. And so the goal of our home tour is 3 things. We wanna build rapport, we wanna find out the seller motivation, and we wanna do property due diligence. Kind of all 3 of those are wrapped in one, and they're really important. Because I will not take a listing if we don't have motivation from a seller. So if a seller says, I think we want to sell just to see what happens, that is the last kind of listing we want, especially in this market, as a side note. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask for a tour of the house. Has anyone heard that most families have a decision maker in their house? Do we want to know who the decision maker is? Yes. So if you say, I'd love a tour of your house and show me everything that you love about it, instantly the decision maker in that household is going to show up and they're going to lead the charge. So now we know the person that we need to make sure that we focus on and we learn what their personality is and how we work with them. So that person will start leading you through the house. You have a notebook and you're literally going behind them taking notes. So you're taking notes of how big the window is, what kind of flooring is in there, how the house feels. You're going to stop and ask questions. Hey, how old is the roof? How's the contingency fund in the strata? What kind of rules are in here? And they're gonna start giving you those things. If you sit across from them and you ask them those questions, sometimes they're nervous for whatever reason, but when you're walking through a house, it's just as like, they're totally fine with it. Now, I always want to know seller motivation. So as I'm taking notes, especially in a single family house or a townhouse, it's easy. As they're walking up the stairs, we've already done one floor together. I say, this house is so beautiful. Why on earth would you want to sell it? And that's when I find seller motivation. So never forget that question. This house is so beautiful. Why on earth would you want to sell? And they're going to say, oh man, we're going through a divorce, or we've had a job relocation. We have kids going to university, or they're going to give you the million reasons. And you're like, I can work with that. You don't say that, but in the moment you take a note, you're like, we've got motivation. They're like, we're not sure. We just want to kind of sell. Then you're like, oh boy, when we get to the pricing stage of this, we better price it right. Or I better let the second realtor take this thing because I don't want this listing at this point anyways. So we're going to ask a million questions. And I've learned even now, I even ask like, hey, how big is your mortgage? Why not ask? Like years ago in 2008 or 2009, I remember I took a listing and they actually owed more than what their mortgage was. And then I sold the house, didn't check the title. And then the lawyer called me in completion, said, hey Cam, did you look at the title? And what did I say when I was 22 years old? Of course I looked at the title and I didn't. And he's like, well, if you looked at the title, you might have seen that they owe more than you are selling the house for. We have a problem. We can't complete. So we want to ask lots of questions because we're professionals and we have a duty of loyalty, disclosure, confidentiality, all of those things. They're going to answer those questions. So anyways, kind of fun. So then we're going to go back to the kitchen table. We're going to say, hey, I want to break the next section into 3 parts. I want to do a marketing presentation. So how I market your property. I want to do a section of what is the market doing and what's your house worth in the market. If you attach your name to the value of their house, you're going to hurt their feelings, right? Especially right now, like the market's here, but it's probably actually right here. And they still have COVID numbers in their mind. So they actually think that it's up here. And so if you say, I think your house is worth X, immediately emotional, immediately hurts your feelings. So, hey, the market is doing this. And it looks like the market's willing to pay this for your house. Detach yourself completely from it as a side note. And we'll get to how to actually price a property properly. So when I go to how to market your property, this is the fun part. So I'll have a template for you guys for listing presentations later. You can steal my listing presentation. I hope you do. But at this point, you get to do whatever you want. You can say, I do drones, or I do video tours, or professional photos, or open houses, or the newspaper, or targeted social media apps, or artificial intelligence. There's a million ways that we can sell a house. Just say what you do, how you invest in it, and how much it costs you money. So I still use the newspaper because there's older people in the Fraser Valley that I swear don't know how to use computers still. And so I literally will bring a newspaper to my listing presentation. And I'll say, hey, people read from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock in this direction. And this newspaper ad cost me $500 a week. People are like, $500 a week? And I think that's crazy. Yeah. But when you're sitting down with a seller, they're like, okay, Cam's here to spend money on my house. And then I say, on top of that, we do creepy things on social media. We can target people at certain dollar amounts, certain life changes, certain whatever. And I think your house is in this group, so we're going to strategize to hit these types of people on social media. And they're like, you can do that? We're like, yes. Right? And then we have the Century 21 stuff, which is amazing. It converts to 30 major languages or whatever it is. So everything we do, we convert it into Mandarin and Cantonese and German and French. And so not everyone speaks English anymore in our marketplace. Obviously, we want to make sure we market to everybody. And so all we got to do is show what we do, how much it costs, and why we're doing it. And honestly, we're probably doing the same as every other realtor. They just do a bad job of explaining it. And at the end of the day, is the MLS probably selling most of their properties? Probably, right? It's literally pictures, stats on the property, the description a little bit is going to sell itself. But the seller wants to hear all of the things that we're going to do. And I remember it was 2012, 2013, I walked into the house, I'm like, I use Facebook. And they're like, what? And Facebook did not sell houses in 2013. But to the seller, that was everything. I was a young guy who was on the edge of technology, and they're like, wow. So now if you're like, hey, I actually use artificial intelligence, we do these types of marketing ads, they're going to be like, what? You use AI? What's that ChatGPT stuff all about? But it's my business. And it might not even make a difference because the MLS is going to sell anyways, but they need to know about these things and that you're using them, if that makes any sense. We just forget to talk about it. So, and I have a million things. I just want you to pick those things that you do, talk about the benefits, and go through them, and sellers are going to love it. Is there anything different that you guys are doing that I'm missing these days? social media, professional photos, home video tours,
And then just targeting, like actually figuring out who the buyer avatar
who
is.
the buyer avatar is.
That's
Yeah.
the most important right now.
Yeah, like there's literally nothing new under the sun, and there's nothing like it's kind of funny how people are like, what do you do to sell a house? I'm like, I don't know. Put an MLS, but don't tell people that. And so the one thing I do actually, where is it here? Is it's flyers and benefits. Oh, I don't know where I put it here. Doesn't really matter. So whenever we list a house, 80% of the time within 2 weeks, a house in that neighborhood or that condo is going to go up for sale. And so I always tell my people I'm listing a house with is like, hey, I'm going to do a just listed flyer in your neighborhood. And it's almost old school at this point. But neighbors are nosy, and I love nosy neighbors. They live in that building or that community for a reason. And so when they get that just listed flyer, first they're going to be selfish, like, oh, my house is way nicer than that house. But I think my Aunt Margaret is going to want to move into the neighborhood. So we want those just listed flyers out there so we have nosy neighbors that connect with us. But we're going to tell our seller that they really matter. But who does it really matter for?
You.
Me. Do you think I'm going to get those phone calls if a just listed flyer goes up before it's on the MLS? Absolutely. Right? So minimum 50 just listed flyers every time I do a listing. Minimum. I would like to see more than that. And the same thing on the just sold. So the second you sell it, you have evidence of success and it just sold. And now the neighborhood's seeing, hey, Cameron came in here and he sold a house in this building, this community, this whatever. And there might be right now 12 other realtors that have listings in there. And if you're the one that shows up with it just sold, you better believe when that contract comes up for renewal, do you think they're going to call the realtor that can't sell the house or the one that sold the house in that community?
We have a question on
Yeah.
chat. Do you prefer to use PowerPoint or paper for your listing presentation?
Paper. I'm old school. I literally show up with my black book to take notes and then my folder of the forms and then actual like tangible examples of what I bring. I don't like a PowerPoint for that presentation at all. So anyways, the other thing I want you guys to do is know how much you spend on marketing per listing. Does anyone know what their dollar is per listing? Rhiannon, model students?
So like all totaled,
Yeah.
after on a basic listing on average, about $4,000.
Holy shit, good for you. Okay. So I spend $27.50. So then every year I run this series called the Success Series. And I break down this is my gross for the year, this is my net for the year, this is how many listings I have, and then I just divide the math. And so to me, it works out to be about $2,750 spent per house. Why do we want to tell people this?
They know you're investing in them.
Yes. And so when they come and call you in 2 weeks and they're not sure if they want to put their house on the market or take it off the market, and they know that Rhiannon spent $4,000 marketing, do you think they're really going to cancel that listing? Probably not. Now, I have another piece of advice. I don't know if Mike will agree with this. I'm so sorry if you don't agree with this. If someone comes to you and they want to cancel their listing, what do you say?
No.
Okay.
Gotta get approval.
Gotta get approval. So do you want to know what my answer has been my entire career? Call me at any moment. I'll cancel your listing. No questions asked. Period. I've never ever had an issue with it in my entire career. And sometimes they'll cancel listing. I say no problem. They'll call another realtor. They don't have the same experience. They'll call me back anyways. If you make a fight about that moment, you're never getting a referral ever again. They're going to tell everyone they know how difficult it is to work with Cameron. And keeping people in a contract that don't want to be in a contract is not a fun way of doing business. And I know most managing brokers don't always agree with me, but it will pay dividends in the future, I promise. No problem. I'll let you out of your listing.
What about your expenses, Ken?
Out the window. That's okay. And the amount of times I've had people they've listed with me canceled, and then their brother calls me 2 weeks later and they're like, hey, you listed so-and-so's house, took it off the market. Do you mind listing my house? Yes.
What I recommend as a managing broker is that they put in their Schedule A that all of those funds are, they have to repay it if they cancel early.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's at the discretion of the realtor.
Yeah.
Whether or not to.
They want to charge. Yeah.
And then the idea is that, well, okay, I'll let you go, but make sure you call me again when you decide to.
Yes. And I'll leave that up.
It's in there.
I'll leave that up to you guys. It's just how I run my business, and it's kind of done well for me for a bunch of years, right? So
If they want to cancel, they're not worth dealing with.
correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Adios, I'll go biking.
Yeah, of course.
No
I'm gonna pay my mortgage whether I sell your house or not. So you let me know. And then it's like then you have zero commission breath, zero detached. Like
Yeah.
it works good. And the next
Okay,
thing I
quick
bring there,
question.
if you work with me, I need you to know that you're working with my core connections. So you work with Cameron Van Klei as the front, but you actually have access to all of my people. And this is still in the marketing part of the presentation. So we're showing what we do, how we spend money, but how many times do they need to paint something or do landscaping or need help with a stager or any of the above things. So I show up and I have a list of everybody I work with. handyman, all these things, their contact info, and I say, if there's anything you need, you actually get access to my pricing and people who are gonna take care of you. And they're like, I didn't even know that. Now, how do we want them to call these people? Absolutely. If we leave that listing and we haven't sent the listing and they call my painter and my stager, do you think I'm really not getting that listing?
No, you'll get it.
You're getting that because they're into the fold of who you are. They're stuck with you, right? Those are soft closing techniques. So we want to show up with them. And the best part is the more they use my core connections, the more I'm building my database and people are going to want to use me in the future anyways because I'm referring them business. So we're building our business more and more by using these things. So show up with your core connections list. It's so important. And this is just an example of one of mine. I don't have my contacts in here. I want you guys to build your contacts. And this is another thing I teach maybe in a different seminar, but I want you to go for coffee with these humans and say, hey, I want to be your referral source. Are you going to be my referral source? And they might say, hey, Cam, I'm so sorry. My cousin is a realtor. I have to refer them. You say, no problem. Just so you know, I need to find another patron to work with my business. Hard conversations, but I'd rather have them. Yes.
Question again from Zoom. How do you justify high commission that says 30K when your cost is only 2,750?
Because I'm good at what I do. It's going to be a good experience and we're going to sell their home for more. We'll talk about commissions in a few minutes. That's a commission objection. But I agree. It's actually crazy, right? Like some of those commissions, like I just wrote a commission last week for $120,000. My cost will be $2,750. That's a pretty good return on investment. We'll talk about that in a few minutes when we get to the commission part. Good question. Okay, so then after we go through this, we want to talk about stats and we want to brag about ourselves a little bit. So even if you're brand new in real estate, you're going to have stats. It's kind of funny. Like I feel like every realtor has an award for something. It's like we get a participation award for being in here sometimes. So you can be a centurion or you can be a ruby or you can be like, there's all the things that go into there. Or you can say, I sell 95% of my listings. If you've had 10 listings and you sold 9.5 of them, I guess, you can say that. And so you do want to talk about your awards, your accomplishments, what you do. But just because you're not the #1 realtor in a marketplace does not mean you don't have stats to back it up. Now, if you go to listing presentation and you're in competition with the #1 realtor in that area, and they say, hey, I'm going to talk to whoever it is, and I'm talking to you. What is the one asset that you have that #1 agent doesn't have? Time. Wow, you're like on this today. I'm sorry if the #1 agent is on Zoom right now. We love you. Keep selling a lot of houses. But you have time. So if the #1 agent is selling 100 houses a year, they have to split themselves up into 100 different moments, right? Whereas you,
My assistant,
and you're talking to their assistant probably,
I
right?
got the listing, but they're gonna do everything.
Correct. And I have been that person in there who sold a lot of houses and I'm competing against someone who doesn't sell very many houses. And I'm like, I crush them in every single facet of real estate. Like they actually suck at this compared to me. But what do they have that I don't? Time. And some people literally just want to cling on to a realtor and just have them walk through the entire process. And that's why there's room for everybody in real estate all the time. There's room for the #1 agent and there's room for the number 250 agent, which is actually kind of good news for us. So anyway, talk about yourself a little bit. Okay, then we're talking about the connection of the market. So we've gone through what we do, we've built rapport, we've found their motivation, we've done all those things, and now we really want to build what the market is doing. And this is where we kind of like showcase what we know. So we're talking about months of inventory. Do we know buyer's market, seller's market, all those things? Right? 0 to 5 months of inventory is a seller's market. 5 to 8 is a balanced market. 8+ months of inventory is a buyer's market. So we're going to say this is the market we're in right now. If there's no new listings, we're going to go for 6 months before all the inventory is eaten up. This is going to say we're in a balanced market. They're going to say, wow, I didn't know that. They're going to hear these things, but they don't really know how to break them down. Break them down, please. Now, if we're in a special building in town over here, you're going to say, here's the months of inventory of this building, right? Don't go talk about the whole market. Don't talk about CMHC in Canada. Don't talk about the province of BC or the city of Vancouver. Talk about that particular building. Here is the months of inventory in the building that you live in right now, or the neighborhood you live in right now. Those things really matter. And then I always go back 10 years and I show them the cycles of real estate, right? Our average cycle is roughly 7 years. We have our boom, we have our bust, and we have our recovery. And I'll say, hey, we're in the part of the recovery or the part of the boom or whatever that is. I have a sheet, it's got 16 key indicators. If you guys ask me, I can send it to you so it shows where we are in the market cycle. In case you guys are wondering, we're right at the end of a bust, starting our recovery. And there's a whole bunch of indicators that will show you guys that. So you can show the home seller that. You're like, we're right in the trough now. Finally, we're in the trough. And then that matters for pricing and compliments when we talk about the value of their house. We're building that case for it. So you're like, oh, it's booming, it's amazing. What are they going to expect for the price? Way too much money. But if you build the case that we've gone through the bust, we're in that trough, troughs go for a while. We're really building a case of what the market's doing. So talk about those things. They love hearing about them. And I bring examples. This is the MLS for Chilliwack right now, but it literally, you guys have the same thing in Vancouver, Fraser Valley, Board, doesn't really matter. We all have the same thing. Works really good. Okay, then the home evaluation. Here's the fun part. So don't make mistakes. The whole presentation, they're fine. The second you're like, this is what your home is worth, they literally lean over on the table, like elbows down, they're into this moment. It's so funny how it works. So you must have all the information on their property. Old listings, tax reports, any history you can get. And they're so funny. You're like, hey, Mrs. and Mr. Smith, is this a 3-bedroom home that's 2,000 square feet? They're like, yes. We literally just walked through the house. We literally just took notes. But if you're like, is this your house? They're so excited about it because it's their house. So have everything, make sure you don't miss anything. Okay, then we're gonna say, guys, do we know that sales dictate value and active is only our competition? And we really want them to say yes in this moment. Because what happens with every seller? My neighbor down the road is worth $1 million. You're like, is it worth $1 million? Yep, they're listed for $1 million. Great. If we listed it tomorrow for $10 million, is it worth $10 million? The answer is no. But they see an active listing, they think that's value. So we have to get them to believe value is only indicated by sold listings. And they will say yes. And then we're going to show them the sold comparables only in their neighborhood. So a 2-bedroom condo is compared to a 2-bedroom condo. Do not take a 1-bedroom condo and bring out another 2-bedroom. That's a huge mistake. Or for example, BC boxes, when we run into those things, a 2-bedroom up BC box versus a 3-bedroom BC box, completely different. Have accurate comparables in close proximity, no longer than 3 months back ever. 3 months only. Because they're going to say, oh, well, in 2022 during COVID, my neighbor sold for this. You're like, that's great. We're going within 3 months. We have to stay in that market. Makes sense? Unless we're doing kind of some big commercial properties or some farmlands, it's a little bit different. But for the most part, most of our deals, 3 months is what we're doing. And then we're going to go through, hey guys, here's your competition. So if I'm a buyer and I'm looking at a house like yours, here's the stack of listings we're going to go through. Right? Because right now when we're looking with buyers, how many listings are there to show them? So freaking many, it's not even fun anymore, right? And so, but now as a seller, you'd be like, okay, so here's the value of the sales. And if I'm in competition with these 30 houses, where do I want to price my house? If you're the 30th one, are you going to get any showings? Probably not. If you're the number 1 or number 2 or number 3, do you think you're going to get showings? Yes. And so I say, hey guys, we don't want to be the cheapest. Let's be 2nd or 3rd, because I'm hoping the first one's already got a deal on it. So we're coming in that range. These are big deals.
And what about price per square foot?
Same thing. Price per square foot can really work.
Like you're comparing a 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom in the same
So-
building, but there's no 2 bedrooms that sold.
Yeah, like price per square foot. Price per square foot works good in condo buildings when you're using the exact building as a comparison. When you go into single family or townhouses or neighborhoods, I think it varies too much. But if you have one particular building, then you can definitely do it. Now the trouble is we'll have a 1-bedroom and a den or a 2-bedroom, and you might have 1,000 square foot apartment and another 1,000 square foot apartment, and one is 3 bedrooms and one's 1 bedroom, and it's like you really have to know the nuances of the building and how they lay out. So you have these bedrooms that like I could hardly put my kids in there, so small. Is there value to that? We really got to know if that makes sense. But then we're going to go through a net sheet and projections, and this is where realtors are always scared to take this step. So this is my favorite moment. So we go through everything. We've done the pricing, the comparables, and now it's time for me to tell them the price of their house. This is where my kindergarten teacher, I told her $650,000. So this is kind of a funny thing that I do. Never look them in the eye when you tell them the price. You don't want to be looking at them in this moment. I take my piece of paper and I write down, your house is $650,000. I look at the paper, they look at the paper. You can feel the tension. You will feel it every single time. Our price is always lower than their price. If you look them in the eye, you're going to hurt their feelings. It's a weird moment. So they're going to like, oh, we thought it was blank. And you say, okay, well, this is the part of the presentation we work on mutual decisions. And they're like, okay, so I'm like, I think it's worth $650,000 in the market right now. And even the way I said that's probably a mistake. The market's going to pay $650,000 right now. What do you think the market would pay? And what are they going to say? We want to try $700,000. Do we take a $700,000 listing in this moment?
God, no, not right now.
God, no.
Not right now.
Okay, so we're gonna take it on motivation. Walking up the stairs, hey, this house is so beautiful. Why on earth would you ever want to sell? they're like, we're downsizing, we've lost our job, we're getting divorced, one of those things that they really have to move, I'll take it at $700,000 all day long. If they just want to move, I'm not taking that listing unless I get it at $650,000 and I know my value. See the kind of difference on that? It's nice to hold a lot of listings. It's not nice to hold a lot of listings that don't sell. Right? Back in my day, I would hold anywhere between 30 and 50 listings at any given time. If they're moving, that's fine. If they're not moving, texting 50 people on Monday morning about the zero activity they've had is no fun. And then you eventually get fired and they hire the next realtor who drops the price $100,000 and they sell. And they told everyone how bad a realtor Cameron was and how great of a realtor this new person was. Because they got the advantage of someone who got tired of having their house in the market and was willing to sell it. Fine. Make sense? Yes.
Question in Zoom again. What if you cannot find comparable sales within 3 months in the same neighborhood or surrounding?
Then you go 6 months, but you're gonna find comparables. You will. Or talk to someone in the office who's more knowledgeable or has more experience than you to say, what do you think this place is worth? Will really help. Yes.
And sometimes it's hard to get comparables, for shareholders, co-ops and,
Mhm.
these homes.
Yeah, just talk to someone who knows a little bit more sometimes. But yeah, you really want to make sure you get those values right now. Like it's more important than ever to try and figure out what they are. Okay, then they're gonna say, I want to list it $700,000. You say, okay, we're gonna objection handle for a sec. So you're gonna say, have you guys ever heard of the honeymoon phase in real estate? And they're gonna say, I don't know what you're talking about. You're like, the first 30 days a house is on the market. It's new and it's exciting. It's your best chance of selling the house. So the trouble is, if your house is listed here, and all the honeymooners come through here, they wave past your house, and then in 30 days, you're like, shoot, we haven't sold our house. We better drop the price. Well, the honeymooners are already off the races. You're a stale listing at this point. So we really want to make sure that we catch that intersection. So I always tell people, can we make a deal then? I will list your house for $700,000 and I will try for 14 days. But can we please do a price reduction after 14 days to this amount? And they will say yes. In that moment, they say yes all of the time. And you say no problem. And what I actually do when I list properties is I never list a property for more than 60 days. At 60 days, I'm going to cancel the listing. I'm going to renew it as a hot new listing that says 1 day on market at a new price. Is that okay with you guys? And they're going to say yes. So in that moment, I have just built in 3 price reductions. Price reductions is its own thing that I'll teach you guys a different time if we need to. But there's nothing worse than saying, hey, for sure it's worth $700,000 and you know it's worth $650. And then like at month 6, you're trying to beat them down on price. That price reduction is so hard in that moment. If you pre-set up that conversation, you're going to get 3 price reductions every single time. 14 days, and then on the one right there, I guess that's 2 is what it is. But that's way better, especially in this market. Okay, so then we're going to take that net sheet. You're going to say, I think your house is worth this. My commissions are this. Oh, wait, I forgot to talk about commissions. We're very strategic in how we do this thing. If you show up to the house and you're like, your house is worth $700,000 and I charge 7 and 4%, they're going to kick you out of the house, I promise. At this point, you've built a lot of rapport, a lot of value, and you say, hey, my commission is X. So I'll do a quick commission objection with you right now. What if they say, I don't want to pay that commission? Or can you drop your commission?
How do you present your commission? Do you do a dollar number or do you do this percentage thing?
I do the percentage thing. So I say, I'm a terrible human in this moment. So I say, the old boys in real estate charge this, 7 and 4. Whatever number is higher, I'll pick it. Rhiannon charges this, so I'll call her an old dog in real estate. And then I say, I come in at 6 and 3. And then I write down 6 and 3, and then I circle it. And then I say, is that okay with you? And most of the time at this point, they'll say yes, because they saw a higher commission that someone else might charge. And then I say, I come in at this. Now, I live in a Dutch community of a whole bunch of really cheap human beings. And they're like, no matter what number you tell them, they're going to say, that's too much. So I've learned this key. When they say, hey, Cam, can you drop your commission? I smile and I say no. It obliterates most of them. It's the most, have you guys tried it before? No. I'm like, okay, well, I just thought I had to ask. It's so funny. And sometimes like, okay, well, that's time we're going to call someone who will drop their commission. And then what I'll do is I'll say, okay, the only way I'll drop a commission is if we sell your house and buy your house. I'll give you $1,000 credit when we go to buy a house. Don't give the credit here because it doesn't work. You're giving it up all right now. And then that moment, they're like, okay, we beat Cameron up a little bit. I'll take 2 transactions. They got something. Everyone's happy. I'll take my 6 and 3. And I'll give them $1,000 when I sell the house. That's how we deal with most of it. And if they're too hard after that, you probably don't want to work with them anyways. Like you actually don't. So there's your commission objections.
Question again
Yeah.
from Robbie. I've been to an appointment where they ask about commission right away. How do you approach this?
So you do exactly what I said this entire time. Go to the kitchen, take notes, follow the exact same thing, and then you talk about commission. And so we get to this end of the presentation, we're gonna say, do you have any questions? And most of the time they're gonna be like, you've answered everything. If we had questions written down, you literally got to them all. You have to learn how to control the situation. We are professionals, we're good at what we do. We are skilled salespeople. We do this process the exact same every single time. Which is why when I teach listing presentations, people are like, well, what is your listing presentation? Like, it's actually the human side of the business. How are we connecting? How are we building rapport? How are we building on what we do to get to that endpoint? You could show up with a napkin and sell more houses than someone with the prettiest listing presentation in the entire world. So we talk about commission at the right time. And that's why when we do the net sheet, oh, by the way, I forgot to talk about commission. I usually snap my fingers is what I do. It's like, shoot, I forgot about that. I didn't forget about it, but you say you forgot about that moment. So, and then they want that net sheet. They want to say, hey, your house is worth $650, commissions are this, lawyer fees are this, you're going to end up with this amount. I want you to have that number so when you go to your mortgage broker, we can qualify you for the right house you're looking for. We're professional, we're doing numbers together. We're so scared in real estate of sharing numbers. So we're like, or commission hires, whatever it is. We need to actually show them what their house is worth, what they're going to get, and what they can move on with. It's no fun when they sell a house like, I only have this stuff, I can't buy what I thought I was going to buy. We're not building trust, we're not building referrals. We want to do this right up front. And sometimes that number is like, I literally wrote a commission for $120,000 last week, and it was like $120,000, and it was a bigger deal, it was a $4.5 million deal, but they were fine with it. And they appreciated that I showed them all the numbers, and they can take that number and they can go work with that number now. Right? Hope that makes sense. Okay, this is my net sheet. You guys can steal it from me if you guys ever need it. I'll email it to you. It's like the simplest thing in the entire world. Blank, 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 all the way down. Okay, and then mutual decisions. So I'll look at them and say, what price would you like to list your house for? Soft questions, right? Soft closing questions. And then they'll say 800,000 or 2 million or some outlandish number, right? They've seen all the comparables, they've seen what the market's going to do. And half the time when they say the number, they kind of like smile about it. I'm like, okay. All right, let's try it for 14 days. And they're like, okay, Cam, we're going to try it for 14 days. You're wrong. Our house is worth so much money. Our backsplash from Rona was beautiful. And then I'll say, like, does this make you feel comfortable? And of course it makes them feel comfortable. And then I say, so what's your ideal timing? Right, we're trying to get them to the moment where they're willing to sign a listing. They're like, oh, we want to be moving by September. And you're like, hey, can we just do some math backwards for a sec? It takes me a week to get your house marketed. Average days on market is about 62 days on market. Then you have 2 weeks of subjects. Then you're about a 2-month close after that. So that brings us to about October 15th. Does that work for you guys? And they're like, what? When you do that math, all of a sudden it puts pressure on when we're going to list their house. Because they thought they were going to list in 6 weeks or 2 months or 3 months, but they do the math backwards and they're like, oh my gosh. So what they're going to do is they're like, well, I'm not ready. Hey, no problem. Like, I need to pay my house, I need to do whatever. And then I say, hey, were you guys in high school? Like I was in high school? And they'll be like, yes. I'm like, remember when a project was due? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, did you do all the work the night before the project? Or when did you do the work? Well, we always did just before that. I'm like, perfect. Why don't we sign the listing right now and we'll put a post-dated date of 2 weeks from now. So it's kind of like school. We're gonna do our homework and this is the final date. And most of the time, what do you think they're gonna say? Yes. That's all you gotta do. But if you say, hey, we should sign the listing right now on today's date, it's never gonna work. Right? Hey, it's a school project. I'm the same way. Why don't we just post-date this listing for 2 weeks? Give you all the time in the world. Talk to my plumber, my electrician, my heating guy will take care of this house. Good to go. You're signing the listing in that moment. Side note. So here's the fun part too. If we're kind of like in the moment, we're not really feeling it. We're like, hey guys, like, this is a big decision. I don't know if I'd want to list my house either. Do you guys want a buyer education tour? And they're like, well, what's that? They're like, I'm going to take you out. I'm going to show you 6 houses in the market. You're not allowed to buy a house, by the way. I'm literally giving you education in the market. So you know when you sell what you're going to buy. And they're like, oh, we love that. What happens when you tell someone they can't do something?
Oh, they want it back.
Literally, they want it back. You are going to sell a house in that buyer education tour. I almost promise you. Make sure you show them 6 nice houses, and they're gonna be like, "Cam, we want to buy this house." I'm like, "I told you you're not allowed to." Like, well, what do we got to do to get this thing done? Well, we got to get your house listed today.
Sell you.
Right? We got to sell your house. Right? I hate subject to sale offers. They're like the bane of my existence. I'm not going to do it for the most part. So I'm going to be pretty firm with my people. We are selling your house, so we know the dollar amount. We don't get emotional over everything. We don't make mistakes. We have better negotiating power to write an offer later.
Yeah.
I just don't do subject to sale offers. Almost never. Hate them. Hate them. They're not a good way to do business, in my opinion. Now, 21-year-old Cam, who is hungry for anything, I do subject to sales all the time, and I work my ass off all the time. So
Do you accept subject to sales on your listing?
only if it's priced right and a good listing. I'm ruthless on it. So when the realtor's like, it's the best listing ever, I'm like, sure it is. Give me the address and the price, and I'll decide if this is worth it or not. That's what I do. So here's the fun part. So we go through this. The very end of their listing presentation, you're going to look at them and you're going to say, do you want to list with me? And you're gonna smile. I'm serious, the cheesiest smile you have. And that moment freezes them. So they're gonna be like, yes, but. So now we get to know either our objection or if we're listing the property. So they're saying, yes, but we're calling the number one agent in this area. Yes, but we need to paint. Yes, but my dad actually is part owner of this house. We need his opinion. And we made the mistake of not having all the decision making. We're gonna hear whatever that objection is. Or they'll say like, no, we're ready to go. This was awesome.
And just a quick question on that one there.
Yeah.
Do you not do a title search before?
You know, a good realtor would do a title search before.
And then know who's at that meeting, because you want them all there?
Yes, you should do that every single time. Manager broker hat on, absolutely. Title search, make sure all the decision makers are asked to make sure they're there. The amount of times I've made a mistake in my career where you show up and they're like, oh, my mom owns it, or my brother, and they're not here, but or a spouse like, don't worry, I make all the decisions on behalf of my husband. Gosh, no, she doesn't. Like, make sure they're there. But yes, I've made that mistake. You should title search it every single time. Good point. But it's fun when the objections come up, right? And there's been certain times where I've done a listing presentation and then you just don't even know how to ask the question at the end. You kind of fumble around and you're like, well, see you later. And then you walk out and you're like, what do I do next? So soft questions until the very end. You're like, hey, would you like to list your house with me? Cheesy smile, boss. Try it, it's kind of fun. Okay. Then if they're like, yes, have all the forms ready to go. This is the boring part of the presentation. I'll blow through this. Have your relationship with a realtor and your FinTrack forms and all your garbage printed out, ready to go, sign it right there. If you say, oh, I just gotta go back to the office and do the paperwork, I'll email you in a couple hours. What happens in a couple hours?
They've time to think.
Oh my gosh. They call their mom, hey mom, guess what? We're listing our house with Cam. We're so excited. Mom goes, with Cameron, you didn't use my friend Bob. You should call Bob. Bob's actually way better than Cameron. You didn't talk to Uncle Bob, the realtor that's part-time or whatever it is. And then when I go to sign paperwork in 2 hours, like, hey Cam, just so you know, our mom's giving us the down payment for a house and she wants us to use Uncle Bob. Sign it immediately. Don't make a mistake on this, right? Always have the paperwork with you ready to go. Once it's signed, then we're gonna shift a little bit. And we're gonna be like, hey guys, we need to get your house ready for the market. 3 rules I have: depersonalize, declutter, lights on. There's nothing worse than cheap ass sellers who have all the lights off because they want to save 32 cents on power. When we do showings, the lights are on and the house is beautiful. I don't want personal pictures of you guys. When people come to the house, I want them to picture their family in the house, not your family in the house. When you're in a small community, what's the first thing people do when they look at houses?
What you see.
Right to the wall with the family tree, like, oh, I think I know that person. That's the last thing we want when we're selling a house. We want them to be able to place their family in that house, all pictures down of personal stuff, right? We're staging these houses, we're making them look beautiful, especially in this marketplace. Please be staging your houses right now. If you're not, you're making a mistake. Back in the day, it was like people would like take pictures of their iPhone, like, oh, I have a fisheye lens on my iPhone, it's gonna be awesome. You're like, or take professional photos and do this properly. At this point, we're staging houses. There's just no way around it. It actually makes a difference. And then if there's any like smells, noises, some of those things, be super direct. Like your pets smell, get them out. Whatever that is. Like we have to be so direct with them. Don't dance around these things. Or you're gonna have a really crappy list that you're stuck with for a long time. I am ruthless with people.
Get rid of the harness in the basement.
Get rid of the harness in the basement. Yes, please. And then you're gonna say, hey, this is how we're gonna do showings. So either you're gonna attend showings, which I'm not a huge fan of attending showings. I'd rather just have a lockbox so I get to live my life. Say, this is where we're putting the lockbox. Are you okay with it? Especially single family house. Oh yeah, just around the back by like the tree fort. And you're like, do you know that like women show houses with high heels and skirts and we don't want them in the winter trying to find that lockbox? Up front, easy to find, good access. These little things do matter. And then we're gonna line up all this stuff. Hey, I'm gonna have the photographer here at this time, the stager here at this time. We're gonna go through that with them. All good. Okay. And then we say goodbye. Seriously, we're trying to do this in 45 minutes to an hour. If they're like, hey, do you want to open a bottle of wine and just celebrate with me? No. If you have drinks with them at 2 in the afternoon, what do they think that you're doing tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon? Having drinks. My realtor puts a sign on the property, drinks their face off, and doesn't actually work hard. That's the last thing we want. We want to be out of there, concise, because if you're a busy person, what do they think you're doing? Hey, you're working. I hope you're working, right? Busy people get shit done. So if you're like, hey guys, I'm so sorry, but I have another meeting in like 45 minutes from now. I got to get rolling. They're actually going to appreciate it. Hey, he's peppy. She's peppy. She knows what's going on.
I'm meeting your neighbor.
I'm meeting your neighbor. Yeah.
Another listing.
Yeah. And I always shake their hand and say, I really appreciate your business. I'm going to do my hardest to sell your house. Any questions, let me know immediately. I'm here for you. And I go to the office and I immediately write a handwritten card and put it in the mail. hey, Mrs. and Mr. Smith, I really appreciate the opportunity to sell your most expensive assets. I look forward to a relationship with you where I get referrals in the future if I do a good job. Right, building that foundation of trust, and within 24 hours, get them all the paperwork back. Don't mess this up. They want to see it. People never open it. You just got to show it to them. So there you go. So if you guys want, that's my free editable template. No one can see it in this room, but if you're on Zoom, you can see it. So you can scan that. That basically is like my CMA is what I have. It's just all there ready to go. What else do I have on here?
Well, is that all on Zoom where you can go and get when they send
Yeah,
us the?
And I can email it to your office too. Like if you guys want to, just
Yeah.
email it to you guys after I share everything I have. Oh, I can't go backwards. Let's go. Oh, I lost it now completely. I have my book on there too. I think you guys should read my book if you guys are struggling in real estate. I'm selling a lot of these books actually. It's kind of fun. But it's a book I wrote to my younger version on how to set up a real estate business, how to make money, how to retire wealthy, all those types of things. My number one buyer is the country of India right now. God bless India. They're buying a ton of these books. It's actually kind of funny. I don't know what they're doing with them in India. But it's a really good book. I highly recommend it for anyone in here. Go on Amazon. It's everywhere basically right now. So okay, any questions?
Lock boxes.
Lock boxes, yeah.
In the valley, is that very common?
All the time. It's so funny when we have Fraser Valley versus Vancouver Realtors. It's almost like this war right now because Vancouver Realtors don't do lock boxes and attend all their showings. And then Fraser Valley Realtors are like cowboys and like, why on earth would you show up to your list and just put a lock box on it and live your life? So in our part of the market, I would never attend a showing ever. Lock boxes and realtors show up.
Really?
They're professionals. They're with their client. Do they really need me to tell them where the kitchen is? I don't think so.
Is there any backlash from sellers saying, well, you're listing and now you're not going to show it?
Never. Not even once. I've sold
Yeah.
thousands of houses. Not even once.
Well, if you have a realtor from Vancouver showing out Silver Valley or something like that, they don't have a clue what's going on.
Hey, here's the lockbox code. Push enter with 4 digits and they get it.
No, but they don't know the market at all.
That's their own problem. They shouldn't be going that far out. Like I would refer to like if I have a contract in Vancouver, I'm referring out. I'm not gonna go do it myself, and they should. But we have those desperate realtors that sell 2 houses a year, and they're like, I can show a house in Hope or Skagit Valley or whatever, and it's like they don't know about septic systems, about wells, about zoning, about
Well, that's
all the things.
They're not selling the house, and you're there to represent the seller
Mhm.
and sell the house.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
not doing the job, you know, they're not gonna do the job, so would it be in the seller's best interest to show up and?
At the end of the day, though, like the house is gonna sell itself. So that Vancouver realtor, they want to make their commission. I think they're just gonna sell
Not
it.
that it's gonna go out there.
Yeah. No, I cheer them on. Like sometimes we see a Vancouver realtor showing a shitty house. We're like, sweet, they got no clue what's going on. They're gonna sell this house.
The other thing we're looking at is we're looking for realtors out of area. They're listing houses in our area.
Yeah.
And we want to go after them and scoop the listing because we know more about the area. They don't know anything about it. Why would-
Absolutely, especially for listings. I totally agree. Yeah.
You know, it's like me going out and listing out in your area. You're gonna make fun of me.
Correct.
It's pick on me.
That's fun. That's the way it goes. Yeah. Yes.
You said earlier that, you let your clients know if they want to cancel, no questions asked. You said it in the first meeting.
Yeah. That's in my listing presentation. Like when I'm going through, I'm like, just so you guys know, like if you're ever uncomfortable, you don't like me, you change your mind, anything, cancel your listing anytime. I'm totally fine with that. Totally fine with that.
That works really well.
It works so like when you show up with that confidence that like, hey, you actually care about relationship, you're gonna do a good job. That like the legs that has in the future is just huge.
I've had a lot of Tom and pause and I'm going, listen, by the way, if you change your mind next week, cancel it. I'm not gonna hold you. Because
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with a problem child.
No.
And they actually went, oh, that's a good relief. And they stuck with it.
But you still have to sign the buyers. Contract.
Buyer's agency contracts. Oh, that's a whole nother thing. I've signed probably 2 in my entire career. I should sign all of them.
I've never done.
I don't know why we sign listings, but we don't sign buyer agency contracts. It makes no sense to me, but that's just kind of like the environment we're in. So I hope it's coming and I hope we do it, but no, I've never done it.
Should be by the end of the year.
Yeah,
That'll
we'll
be
see.
mandatory.
Never
Yeah.
had to. I said, if you don't have confidence in me, I'm not gonna take
Right,
people around.
but could you imagine listing a house, like I'm gonna put all expenses into this and if you want to use, like, it's weird, right? We sign contracts for listing, but not the buyer side.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes,
They said that your link is not working.
it's not working?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll not fix it right now, but I can re-email everyone if it's not working.
Okay, perfect.
It was working this morning, that's good. Little technology.
Thank you.
Glitch.
We're in the dome.
We're in the dome here sometimes. Any other questions? Okay, guys, thanks for letting me have some time with you guys. I appreciate it.
That was great. Slimming, remember, slimming. My takeaways is you gotta be prepared, you gotta practice, you gotta have a presentation. I have a presentation every time I meet a realtor, I walk them through everything. Say it, I've said it 1,000 times, it's easy and becomes easy, right? And so be prepared, be ready, be confident, and don't make eye contact. That's when Heather's mad at me, I don't make eye contact, right? You look the other way. But I thought that was great. We're gonna upload it to the Century 21 Moxie platform for the listing presentations. And then you guys will all be able to accept it that way and then modify it, because you can't take everything that Cam has. You gotta add some of your personal stuff. So very easy to edit and stuff. Got no more questions? Have a great week. Thanks for attending. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you very much, man.
Very
Appreciate
nice,
it.
very nice.
Awesome.
Okay.
Bye, guys.